Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a very important sort of trait and aspect of someone who is malignant narcissist or psychopathic, and that is a constant need to have basically persona management. Facade management, outcome management, meaning they want to control the way that others perceive them. They are really living life or engaging in relationships from the outside in, from the top down, meaning that they want to engage in what is known as persona management, controlling the way that you perceive them, controlling what conclusions you come to, rather than paying attention to your gut and resonating. Something seems off, something seems strange, something seems different. Rather than being able to tune into that, they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to register within. They don't want you to check out your own gut. They don't want you to check out what's in your own best interest. They want to basically skip that circuit and have you perceive and engage in the relationship, whether it's a work relationship, a familial relationship, whether it's a love relationship, a marriage, a sibling. They want to control the perception of them accordingly and not have you sort of pick up your own feelings and then express it in the conversation or in the relationship. Meaning they want to be in control. They want to position themselves in a specific way, and this is not up for questioning, controversy, discussion. The problem is sort of by default with people who have not encountered these types of people before. They follow along. They swallow the bait, hook, line, and sinker, and then they're just sort of following along complicitly, just sort of docilely, and just sort of not questioning their their positioning. Meaning they want to engage in persona management. It's very important because people who are having difficulty dealing or healing is because you have not been able to register and really tap in to your own inner experience while either in the relationship, in the conversation, or afterwards. You don't get a chance to think it through. So those feelings are never worked out, and they're sort of half-baked ideas, half-baked feelings. They don't get resolved. They just get trampled on, and then people have to then pick up their empowerment. It is very disempowering if once you've been in a relationship with these individuals. In other words, you're not able to register within. You're always sort of looking outside, that sort of external locus of control. What are some ways that they might engage in persona management? They're always talking about themselves, what they did, and you're like, why should I care about this? But you don't want to say, why should I care about this? Because you want to be polite, you want to be, considerate, you want to, be emotionally intelligent, so you won't, you would not really speak those things. In other words, how do they engage in persona management? They're always talking about maybe what they made for dinner. Oh, I'm the greatest cook. I just made this. I'm the greatest cook. I just made that. You're at, another party. They're always talking about, their cooking. In other words, they're always trying to position themselves as I am the best cook. In other words, no one else is of this sort of, this is so important. This is more important than everything. This is all about me as a character. I'm better than you because of this. It's sort of the insinuation in their persona management. I have what it takes and you don't. It's sort of the subconscious message that these people will engage in when they're talking about persona management. In other words, they want you to perceive them in a specific way, despite evidence to the contrary, despite your awareness to the contrary. You might have tasted, to follow this example, you might have tasted their food. Their cooking ain't that good. They're talking, I could be a chef. I could be a this. I'm a that. And, your cooking is good. Your cooking is just as good. You have just as much right to cook. But somehow when you cook, it doesn't get the same attention. It doesn't have the same emotional weight. It doesn't have the same emotional value. All of a sudden, you feel that you don't have, the long end of the stick. In fact, you might feel that you have no end of the stick when you're in a relationship with these people who are engaged in persona management. Look at how I am. Everything from where they walk in a room to how they sit to how they're always talking about themselves. In other words, they'll bring it up again. Yeah, I was, and then, all of a sudden, I was cooking this morning. I was cooking in the middle of the night. Why are you telling me this? They're persona management. They're trying to create and construct your own just sort of valuation. What you're putting value on. They're trying to control and place value on what it is they're doing. Hey, maybe you can cook or not cook. It's good to get carry out. It's good to eat simple. I just want to have a simple, whatever. Is it really that big a deal? But they'll sort of make it sort of just sort of this all encompassing, just sort of paramount importance. And it might not be cooking. It might be something else. The way they, are into their interests, that it's more important to have an avocation than a vocation. So the way that they're always talking about how they do things. This is how I do things. This is how I do things. This is what I do. This is what we do. Or, they might talk a lot about their religion, or where they live as just sort of the persona management, trying to control how you perceive the situation versus your awareness of the, refuting facts, refuting evidence, refuting experience, denying yourself any sort of input is basically, and then if you do, the narcissist or the psychopath will want to be the quote unquote number one, the leader. You're doing this because you're with me. I'm not with you, you're with me. Is sort of the subtle insinuation of the relationship dynamics that, that you are not got it going on. They're the ones who have it going on. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. The constant need to control their public persona, the way that they appear and they are in other people's minds, they want to control it. It's like the ultimate personal, they're always trying to market themselves to you. Even this might be just in your family. It might be in your marriage. I mean, you're like, it becomes too much. You can't have a personal, sort of your own private life, which oftentimes is very different than what it is that you see on the outside. So that's part of the problem, is that this persona management oftentimes is a cover-up for their own wrongdoing, their own shortcoming, their own insecurity, their own humanness. And so they don't want you to perceive that. So if they can always be in front of you, creating how you're supposed to perceive them, they're always setting it up, then, you might not ever get a chance to know better or see through it. You have to be able to see through it when these folks are engaging in persona management, trying to, feel that they are the only one who can call the shots, or the only ones who can order the dinner. They're the only one who, quote, knows how to live life. No one else really knows how to do it, whether it's raise a family, work in a job, set up your future living situation, look and set up your past. I mean, whatever it is, they're always just like, it's just, there is no other way. It's as if they have, the rights to the only way, and that they are to be always looked up to. Notice that they're always wanting others. They have an insatiable need to have power and control over others, so they want to create and have that power, and then oftentimes misuse the power. That is a given. That is a given. That is a giving, and that's part of this charade. So be very careful and aware of this sort of tendency to sort of try to create, and I always found this earlier in my life, were feeling that I was disempowered after certain relationships, and I tried to understand what is the energetic, taking away. They're not sort of helping build me up. they're building themselves up in my eye, which is really how they do it, meaning that you must also then always validate, giving up, validating your own and giving it up to validate them. So they take up a lot of emotional airspace, if you will. We've got a big football game coming up. They talk about the advertising that's so expensive and everybody wants a slot. That's what the narcissist, they always want sort of the prime time. They want you to always be thinking about them and managing their image for you, so you don't have to do the thinking about them for yourself. It's so important that you learn to think for yourself, especially coming out of one of these relationships, one of these experiences, being able to put 1 and 2 together, 1 foot in front of the other. I don't agree. It's like a cardinal sin to not agree with a psychopath or a malignant narcissist. It can be a cardinal sin to not jump when they say jump, to not be afraid when they say be afraid. So you have to be able to have an emotional resonance that's on a different wavelength, a different vibration, a different physiology than that which they are trying to coax you, manipulate you, or persuade you to feel and sort of observe from them. I hope these videos do make sense. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that the videos do help. Please share, subscribe, and please join the new Peace and Harmony memberships for more great videos, tools, discussion, and support. Have a beautiful day.